A pleasure to have you. And also, we want to welcome Mr. Paul Massiah, who also shared in that session. Want to welcome both of you to the show tonight as we look at some of what transpired during that evening. And I know both of you, I saw both of you there, as far as I recall. I couldn't stay, Kathy, to hear your interjection, but I think you two would carry it. And I had to leave before I heard yours, Paul, but I also saw that on YouTube as well. And I want to commend you both for having the intestinal fortitude to stand up to the microphone and give your views on the heritage of our country. So, welcome this evening.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Good night to you, and good night to the loyal opposition.
Well, I know both of you contributed to the evening, and it would be interesting to hear your thoughts. I'm going to let you go, Kathy, because Paul and myself are gentlemen, and we have learned and we have been schooled to let the ladies go first. All right, so we let you share your thoughts on to what you thought with regards to the evening, some of the things that you spoke about and that concerned you that you raised in that session.
First of all, I did not speak. I went there to be an observer
Uh-huh.
over the direction that the whole proceedings will take, and if it was necessary for me to interject, I would have.
Okay.
Um, I thought that I was going to say that I thought it was balanced
Yes.
discussion, but I think it was an imbalance in our favor.
Yes.
So that is one of the reasons why I think I did not have to speak either. I thought there was good representation from the loyal opposition.
I agree with you. For the short time that I was there, and the persons that I saw there, I knew there was going to be. I thought I'd seen you. I thought I'd seen you contribute to it. That was my error, my mistake. But I know Paul did. I did see Paul at the mic, and so Paul, let's hear what your thoughts were with regards to the evening.
Blessed good night to the loyal sons and daughters.
A good night to
Um,
you too.
I was a little um, disturbed about the fact that we would, at this point in time, want to discuss changing what I know to be the emblems of this country. And it seemed to me as though we are in a nation now searching for its history.
Identity.
I came away, yeah, its identity. Um, and it's a very bad feeling because at one point in time, all of the changes that um the guests the people were speaking about, I wonder what was the need, the urgency to want to change these emblems. Because as far as I know, an emblem is a country's seal, its coat of arms. When you have a coat of arms, this is your protection, your symbol of identity. And the coat of arms often appears on official documents. I have some coins here that have the coat of arms. 5 cents, 10 cents, the 25 cents, the dollar, even the paper dollars, they have the coat of arms, the official seal of this country. Now, I am somehow wondering if we are going to spend time discussing the change to the coat of arms, are we going to spend money also in bringing about these changes? Are we going to, is the taxpayers going to be responsible now for changing the documents, the original emblems to reflect what? You know, aren't we craftsmen of our own fate? Why the change? And why at this time? So that is mostly my concern. And what I am saying is that since there is interest in changing the coat of arms, I believe it is also going to be a cost to the taxpayers. My question is, will the new coins now have um, a new coat of arms? Will our IDs now have a different change, or passports, or birth certificates? You know, these are things that showed the kind of country that we are on our history. But if we have changed from who we were as as Barbados to a republic, the Republic of Barbados, it seems as though we are going to have some kind of symbol that represents the republic. So since it seems to me as though there is no symbol to represent the Republic of Barbados, the only thing to do is to change the original coat of arms to
Mhm.
reflect what we have. And to me, that is a big concern. Now, one of the last things I want to point here is that change can be deceptive. If you want people to buy into changing the color of a house, sometimes you start with some insignificant changes. You change the curtains, you would probably change the windows, maybe change the furniture, and you might even change the actual structure of the house. Now, after you make all of those changes, you might say, hey, you know something, it's time to change the color to go with all the other changes. And I find that we have somehow put the cart before the horse. And if you look at any picture of a cart pulling a horse, the horse is going backwards. I think that we are actually going backwards in this sense, because we have found ourselves being a republic with no constitution, no original coat of arms. And I believe if we continue on this road, we are indeed going to be craftsmen of our own fate. And we are craftsmen of our own fate when we remain silent, when we do not speak up when we should, when we remove the old landmarks.
Mhm.
And I'm very
Mhm.
concerned about that.
Well, like I said, for the few minutes I could spend, I unfortunately had to leave. But there were a number of things that went through my mind, Kathy, and of course, the discussion started out the evening with the national flag, and it was referring to the colors of the national flag and the broken trident. And I know that I thought to myself, while I sat in the room, I did some very quick research to discover that on the trident, the 3 points on the trident can also stand for by the people, of the people, for the people. And I thought to myself that even during independence, that there was consideration already in place and in train and in thinking for Barbados to become a republic because of those 3 points on the trident. But I wanted to hear from you. I want to hear from you, though, Kathy, as well. Your views on what you saw transpire, what you heard, because of course, they began with the national flag. Unfortunately, I had to leave just about that time, but there were other things that followed after this, and maybe you can update us with a few of those areas.
Yes, I can. There was the national flag, the national anthem, the national
Hmm.
pledge, the coat of arms, the day of significance, the national dress, and a national dish,
Okay, so you want to
which
run those again so we can get all of them. We had the flag,
the anthem,
uh-huh,
the
anthem,
pledge, the coat of arms, the day of national significance,
the
national
day
dress,
day of what? Day of national
national
significance.
significance, yes,
Uh-huh.
and national dress
Uh-huh.
and national dish. I think I
Did I
got
hear
all.
did I hear something about a national sport as well?
Yes, they had discussed that, but and the question, and it was more in the form of a question: we have a national sport,
Okay,
and
okay,
they were thinking whether it should be cricket or table tennis. Not
okay.
table, yes, road
Road
tennis.
tennis, road tennis. Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead.
No, no, like like Paul drew the analogy. If you want to change the color of the house, you're going to do a lot of insignificant changes, and I thought that is what it did, because even if you wanted to change the do something with the national anthem or the pledge or even the coat of arms, where does the dress come into play in all of that? Where does the national dish come into play with all of that? So I think they were mainly catching at straws for a lot of the extra things that they added to what they really wanted to get at.
Hmm.
And while there were some very strong statements that were made in favor of the present national emblems. And Mr. Raniero, he made a strong statement as
Yes.
well when he said, when he said, because somebody had earlier said that to change, if we change these emblems, how will it go with the citizens? How will they embrace it? Because it is hard for change to people to accept change. And Mr. Yearwood said, if we have not shared with the younger folks what this emblem means to us, why are we going to change them? We ourselves don't know the fullness of these emblems, and we have not taught them to our younger folks. Why is there a necessity to change them? Now, Miss Rose Corbin, she stood up and she made a case for the national anthem. Verna DePisa stood up and she made a strong case for the national pledge. And to put the nail in the coffin, there was this young lady from BCC. She was probably, I would say, 18 years old. And she said, I think she was encouraged by her friends with that little motivation. She said, what she said, this is her words, I was watching a film, a picture, and I saw our flag in the background. And she got so excited, she went and she called her friends to tell them what she just saw.
Uh-huh.
This was a young lady giving her input into how she felt about the national flag, and they're wanting to change these things. We are now seeing our national emblems on the international stage in something outside of Barbados and something that means something to us. And we're getting all excited about it because it is our identity. It is like people are seeing us, and you want to change these emblems at this time.
Yes, yes,
Something is wrong with that picture.
yes. I felt it was like a red herring that was being drawn across our path as a distraction. And, I remember how proud I was. I think I might be slightly older than you two, but I remember how proud I was when my sister attended the Munich Olympics and I saw the Barbados flag on, they had the teams come out and march. And I
Yes, and the
remember how I
bats.
felt when I saw the Barbados flag at the Munich Olympics. I was so proud. I was so proud. And somehow I feel that this exercise was really, to me, an exercise in futile distraction.
And to say
It
as
was,
well,
uh-huh.
Jessica Odo was also then. I remember her making this point. She said, as it relates to, because they were talking about some point of things that are on our national emblems that are either exist, as what's the word? They no longer exist, or
Uh-huh.
they're close to being no longer in our presence. And she said, when it comes to the cuckoo and flatfish, let it remain. All we need to do is to teach the younger folks how to cook cuckoo.
And get Trinidad to send the flying fish back to us.
Correct. Correct. So there were strong voices representing, and if I may dare say, I might be stepping a little bit beyond my thing. Miss Odell is not a DLP supporter. Let me put it that way.
No, Miss Odell is my cousin.
Ah,
She's my cousin,
okay.
and she's a very strong supporter of the Barbados Labour Party.
And she made a very strong case for the national dish. So there
Yes,
was there was good representation all around. Now
yes.
the committee said that they were just an advisory committee to take back to the government what the people were saying. Now there was a lady there when they were talking about the national anthem, and when they got to the national anthem, she said, "I'm glad you got to the national anthem because I for the longest time was dying for there to be a change." And she came with a written rearrangement of what she thinks or how she thinks the national anthem should go. Now we don't have all the changes. I should have written them down so that I could be able to share, because she did speak about um, these fields and hills. And then but what stepped out us was more significant was the second verse,
That's right.
when she when
That's
she
right.
said when she said the Lord has been the people's guide for the past 300 years, and she
Yeah.
said
Our
take out
faith.
that and put in the ancestors were our guide for these past years. Now I don't know how you're gonna sing that, but anyway, that's what she was saying. And then the reference where it says him referencing the Lord, she said take out that as well and put ancestors.
Okay.
And I'm saying that was really the crux of what she really, in my mind, wanted to say, because the other changes that she had cited didn't seem to make as much sense or carried as much weight as those that she was trying to make in the second verse.
Hmm.
Now, now the others that came up after her made a really strong statement, so I didn't think there was a need for me to actually go and make my case, because they did a really good job
Yeah. Yeah.
in representing. So I am not sure if they're going to have other town hall meetings, or they're going to take what was done or said. Actually the committee asked the lady for a copy of that document that she read.
Hmm.
Now
Yeah.
we know how these things go.
That's expected, but just like how they attempted to change the Independence Day to Republic Day through the back door, and the people of Barbados said, we will have none of it.
Correct.
I am sure that any attempt through any kind of door will be met by Barbadians saying, we will have none of it. Um, so uh, there you see the National Day of Barbados is celebrated on the 30th of November, which marks the Barbados independence from the United Kingdom. And so, I thought there was no need for any change. I thought it was a futile exercise and a waste of time, to be brutally frank. But I
I will want to
appreciate the
say
fact,
though,
you know.
I will want to say though that some of the changes that our Rastafarian brethren would have brought to the table, along with another gentleman, they were suggesting for the coat of arms that you can take out the pelican, since we don't have any, and replace it with, say, the blackbird or the green monkey, or there was some other thing. What was it?
Hmm.
Right, something that was significant to us as a nation. And it was like, all right, if there was ever going to be a change, I can accept those. But the
Yeah.
thing is, if you're going to make or create Can't say a coat of arms because I don't think a country can have two coat of arms. If you want to create another emblem that represents the Republican status that we now have, perhaps you can use those. The flying fish, it was the flying fish, the green monkey, and the blackbird. You can use those to create the Republican whatever symbol that you want to create.
Hmm.
That is where it can go, right? And they were talking about because the pelican was extinct. Somebody was making the case that just because the thing is extinct doesn't mean that it's not still part of your history and still part of your
Yes,
presence,
yes, yes.
because they drew the reference to the American bald eagle, even though it was almost extinct. What they did was to give it life again,
Yes,
to
yes.
make it a bird that you should not prey upon. I don't want to say if it was given a no touch bird, but
Uh-huh.
they give it significance again by making sure that they regenerated life into that species of bird in the nation itself. Maybe I have never seen a pelican. Maybe we can look at getting a pelican or two
Well,
on the
I've
island.
seen them. I've seen them in California, and
On the
well, what I
island.
yeah, and of course it reminds us of Pelican Island, which was added on to Barbados to make us 166 square miles. But before I make any comment, I just wanted to, because our time has gone by so quickly, just wanted to see, Paul, if you wanted to make any closing comments with regards to the evening, things that caught your attention. You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, sure, sure,
Mhm.
sure. Two things. Um, Whenever you are presenting, whenever you're hosting this show, you make it quite clear to say the pledge. When I consider what we were being told to do on Thursday, um, in terms of changing the national anthem, altering the national anthem, I would say, I was kind of vexed. I was mad. And I had to stand up and speak against it. Because I'm of the opinion, how could you say that you pledge allegiance to my country, Barbados, and to its flag, and yet still you have an issue with the anthem? Isn't the
Mhm.
anthem a part of the same allegiance, Barbados? And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the next right, and then the next thing was that I think that we are being set up, and I think that we should take that there so very
Very
very hard,
seriously.
you know,
Yes,
very
yes,
seriously.
yes. But thank you so very much. I appreciate you guys bringing us up to date. And thank you, Rose, for indicating it wasn't a futile effort. I really meant a futile effort on the part of the government, but not in terms of for persons to learn and share and share their views and concerns. I just see these things as just distractions from the main issues that are facing us as
Yeah.
a country at this time. I want to thank both of you all for being here tonight and updating us as to what that was all about and what was expressed and what was shared there. And I'm sure that in the days ahead, we certainly, if they want to give consideration to some other things, they can do so. We can talk about that at some future point in time. I don't see the blackbird because I see blackbirds in Trinidad and blackbirds in Guyana, blackbirds all over the place. I would green monkey and maybe the black belly sheep. You never know. But right now, the black belly sheep are all in Guyana, so I don't know about that. But nevertheless, we're quite happy with how things are with regards to our symbols. I believe the majority of people that spoke there spoke for the majority of Barbadians, really. I mean, it was not necessarily a massive crowd, but I've understood in marketing that one person represents in excess of 7 to 12 persons. So we had quite a big representation there that evening. So thank you guys so very much for bringing us the update. We appreciate you taking the time to be in on the show tonight. We're going to be
You're
moving
welcome.
with Marcia now
You're
tonight
welcome. You're
on the
welcome.
move. And thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you so much, Paul. Bless you and have a great, great evening.